Hello everyone, my name is Lucky, a mathematics enthusiast, giving you a special welcome to Prince Maths Clinic. It's nice to have you in class today.
Here we have a very interesting Olympiad maths question, and we're asked to find the real solution to the value of x in 8 to the power of x plus 4 to the power of x plus 2 to the power of x equal to 14. We want to find the real value of x. Let's go right into the question. 8 to the power of x. 8 can be written in this form: 2 to the power of 3. This 2 to the power of 3 is the same as 8. Then we put the power of x. Then 4 can be written as 2 to the power of 2. 2 to the power of 2 is 4. Then to the power of x. Then plus 2 to the power of x, all equal to 14. Now, I know that from indices, if I have a to the power of m to the power of n, it is the same thing as a to the power of n times m. That is, if I have m here and n outside, I can bring n inside and take m outside. So I will still obtain the same result. So knowing fully well that I will obtain the same result, I'm going to transform this to become 2 to the power of x all to the power of 3 plus 2 to the power of x all to the power of 2 plus 2 to the power of x equals to 14. Now that I have 2 to the power of x in all the terms, 2 to the power of x, 2 to the power of x, 2 to the power of x, I am going to put 2 to the power of x equals to p. I'm going to say 2 to the power of x is now p. So therefore, this will become plus p squared plus p, all equal to 14. Then I will now move this 14 to this part. So it will now become p to the power of 3 plus p squared plus p minus 14 equal to 0. Now, from this particular point, there are two methods that we can use to obtain the value for p. I'm going to be using the first method, then afterwards I would use the second method to obtain the value for p. So let's use the first method. Now, minus 14 can be broken down into two numbers. Minus 14 can be written as minus 8 and minus 6. If you add minus 8 to minus 6, you are going to get minus 14. So I'm going to split these numbers, this minus 14, into 2 using a very simple trick. And here is the trick. I'm going to say p to the power of 3. Then I'm going to put minus 8. I'll put this in a bracket and now say plus. I will now say p to the power of 2 plus p, then minus 6, all equal to 0. I have not changed anything. If you add everything up together, you are still going to get this. P to the power of 3 plus p squared plus p, then minus 8 and minus 16 gives you minus 14. Now, and I know that my 8 is the same thing as 2 to the power of 3, and this is p to the power of 3. So I will have a situation like this: p to the power of 3 minus 2 to the power of 3 plus, then I have p squared plus p minus 6 equal to 0. Now I'm going to pick this part and resolve. Now we know that if we have 8 to the power of 3 minus b to the power of 3. We could say that this has this formula, a minus b, open bracket, then is a squared plus ab plus b squared. So using this formula to resolve this, therefore I would say my p to the power of 3 minus 2 to the power of 3 will now become p minus 2, then square p, this becomes p squared, right? Then square this and this becomes 2p, then square this becomes 4. So it means that if I expand this bracket, I'm going to get back this, right? So now let's proceed. So it means that the result for this is what I have here. So, and this as well can be factorized. So if we factorize, and p squared plus p minus 6 equals to 0, open two brackets, put, p minus 2 and p plus 3. How do I obtain the value? Put p here, put p here. Now, what two numbers will I multiply to give me minus 6? That when I add up that number, I'm going to get a positive 1. Now, what two numbers will I multiply to give me minus 6? And I will add, that will give me positive 1. That is the coefficient here. So, it is 2 and 3. 2 times 3 gives me 6. But where will I put the minus so that I will obtain the minus 6 and have a plus 1 here? I can only put the negative in the smaller number, because this value here in the middle, the second coefficient here is 1, positive 1. So that if I say minus 2 times 3, I will get negative 6. And when I say 3 minus 2, I will get 1. So therefore, this becomes p minus 2 and p plus 3. So hope you get the logic now, right? Good. So these values are like this. So what does that suggest? It suggests to us that this particular value here have been expressed in this form, and this particular value here have been expressed in this form. Therefore, my equation will look like this. So instead of writing p minus 2 cube, I'm going to put the results that we obtain here, which is p minus 2, then multiply by p squared plus 2p plus 4, right? Good. Then plus is here. Then the result we obtain from this is this result, p minus 2 and p plus 3. Now, if you notice, p minus 2 is common in both sides. Sorry, it's common here and here. So I'm going to factor that out. P minus 2. Then what do I have left? I have p squared plus 2p plus 4. Then plus p plus 3. Remember, all equal to 0. Now, I can further simplify this part, but I'll write my p minus 2. So if I simplify, p squared, then 2p plus p give me positive 3p, then 4 plus 3 gives me 7, all equal to 0. Now that we have obtained this, remember, when you have bracket, it means multiplication. Is it not so? Good. So therefore, we can say that our p minus 2 is equals to 0, and p squared plus 3p plus 7 is equals to 0. So what does that mean? I want to focus on this part. Remember, we have to find the real solution to the value of x. Now, looking at this part, from p squared plus 3p plus 7 equals to 0, we want to obtain the value of the discriminant to find out if we will obtain a real value from this point. And what is the formula for the discriminant, it is simply b squared minus 4ac. Now, where our a is 1, our a is 1, our b is 3, and our c is the constant 7. So therefore, my discriminant here becomes b squared, which is 3 squared, minus 4. A is 1, then c is 7. So it means this is 9 minus 4 times 7 is what? 28. So if you do 9 minus 28, you will get a negative 19. Now, therefore, since our d is less than 0, the value of minus 19 is less than 0, it means, what does that mean? It means that it has no real solution. So it means that if we go ahead to solve this particular quadratic equation, we are going to get something in the square root that has a negative, which is a complex number. Right? Good. So we now try the other value, but from p minus 2 equals to 0, it means that our p is equals to 2. But mind you, we are not looking for p, we are looking for what? For x. Then we'll now go to where we recall that our 2p, recall that our 2 to the power of x is equals to p. Therefore, 2 to the power of x is equals to p now, which is 2 to the power of 1. So the bases are the same. Therefore, our value for x is what? The same, which is 1. Since the bases are the same, therefore the powers are equal. So x is equals to 1. Now that we have obtained the value of x to be 1, we can test our result, right? And it's very simple. Testing the result is very simple. How do you test your result? Put the value of x back into this equation. 8 to the power of 1 plus 4 to the power of 1 plus 2 to the power of 1. Let's see if it will give us 14. 8 to the power of 1 is still 8. 4 to the power of 1 is still 4. 2 to the power of 1 is still 2. So therefore, 8 plus 2 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. So it means that our value for x is correct. Now, let's use the second method. You know, I promise you from this point that I'm going to use 2 methods to obtain the value of x, right? So let us go ahead to try the second method to see if we are going to get our x to be 1 from this particular point. Remember, the value for x we obtain is 1. So let us go. Now that you have this particular equation, I am going to test values. So to see which of the value will give me 0. So if p is equals to 1, let us see what it will be. Therefore, this will come 1 cubed plus 1 squared plus 1 minus 14. This cannot be equal to 0. Now, if p, we'll try negative 1. Therefore, negative 1 cubed plus negative 1 squared, then minus 1 minus 14. This is negative 1. This is 1. Negative 1 plus 1 will give us 0. Then 0 minus 1 is minus 1. And minus 4, this will not give us 0. So let us try 2. If p is equals to 2, let's go. 2 cubed is 2 to the power of 3. Then p squared is 2 to the power of 2. Then plus 2. Then minus 14. Let us see if it will be 0. 2 to the power of 3 is 8. 2 to the power of 2 is 4. Plus 2 minus 14. 8 plus 4 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. 14 minus 14 gives us 0. So this will give us the value of 0. So that we know that p is equals to 2. It means if I bring my 2 here, I will have p minus 2 equals to 0. So to get the other factor, I am going to use p minus 2 to divide this particular equation. So therefore, to obtain other factor, divide p cube plus p squared plus p minus 14 equals to 0 by p minus 2. So if you do that, if you divide by minus 2, here is what you are going to obtain. So let's do that. So I'm going to put p minus 2 here, then put this p cube plus p squared plus p minus 14. So p in p cube will be p squared. So I'll use p squared to multiply everything I have here. So I'm going to get p squared times p, I'll get p cube. P squared times minus 2, I'll get minus 2p squared. Then put a negative here. This minus this will give me 0. Minus times minus is plus. Then 2p squared plus p squared will give me plus 3p squared. Then I'll bring this positive p down. So p in plus 3p will give me plus 3p, right? So use plus 3p, multiply this now. You get 3p squared. Then 3p minus 2 is minus 6p. Then put the negative here. Then 3p minus 3p squared minus 3p squared will give us 0. Minus times minus will give us plus. So if you add p to 6p, you get plus 7p. Then if I take p again, divide plus 7p, I will get plus 7. Then take this plus 7, multiply this. I'm now going to get 7p, then minus 14, right? Good. I'll bring negative 14 down to this place. So this will be negative 14. So if I put my minus here, therefore, minus will become, this will become minus 7p. So if you add this together, you get 0. This will be minus and minus will give us plus. Then this will be minus 14 plus 14, which will give us 0. So it means that the value we have obtained here is the other factor, which, of course, if you study the former solution, the first solution I gave, we got this as the second factor. So it means that if you multiply p minus 2 by p squared plus 3p plus 7, you are going to obtain this particular equation, right? So therefore, what's our conclusion? It then means that our p minus 2 multiplied by p squared plus 3p plus 7 equals to 0. So from this point, of course, we have already found out that this part, the discriminant, the value for the discriminant here, right, is less than 0. So we cannot get any real solution. So from here, that is p minus 2 equals to 0. We found out that p is equals to 2. Then we record that what? 2 to the power of x is equals to 2 to the power of 1. From where we obtain the value for x to be 1, because the bases are the same. So here we've come to the end of today's question. So kindly state in the comment section which of the solution you find easy and which of the solution you find interesting. Engage me in the comment section. Then for those of us that have not subscribed, kindly click on the subscribe button and also on the notification icon so that you can see other interesting videos as we drop them on the channel. Bye.